COVID-19 is certainly redefining the landscape for consumers. While some stores are keeping their doors shut, online shopping is growing tremendously. Many retailers have seen a revenue growth of up to 65% between March and April. Joining us this morning to talk more about ways you can stay away from spending too much money online is First Florida Credit Union's Ashley Avery. Good morning, Ashley. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
So many of us can probably admit that at some point during this pandemic, we've been tempted to turn to online shopping. What are the dangers of overspending while online shopping during this pandemic?
Well, the online shopping is not new to us. We understand how easy it is to get into an online shopping hole. But now that we're at home more and we're having to utilize online shopping, what we're seeing is a shift from necessity shopping to what we call comfort buying. And comfort buying those are the items that we purchase for ourselves that make us feel good. And the danger of that is that we're seeing people starting to overspend. And that's a tough thing to do when we're in an environment that we're in right now with COVID-19 pandemic still out there.
It certainly is much easier to do. So with that being said, what tips do you have for people to prevent that overspending and any harmful online spending habits?
Sure. Well, the first thing is that, we're finding it easier too to shop during the day a little bit more because we are in the comfort of our homes. So what we want to do is create a time to do our shopping online so that it's not in front of us all day long. That's actually one of my favorite tips. And that could be as easy as setting about, it's hard to say, I'm only going to shop at 5 o'clock, right? That's a little unrealistic, but it could be as easy as when you're finished with work and maybe before you go to your next activity, such as cooking dinner or maybe going to the gym. That's a good time to sit down and do some of your shopping then. And it takes it away from being in front of us all the time, so we're not thinking about it as much. The second thing that we can also do is to make sure that we give ourselves a little time and space before we actually purchase the items. Something I often do is I put a lot of items in my cart. I find immense joy doing that. But I like to step away from that at least 24 hours so that I can really think about that purchase. One of the biggest reasons is because we're usually putting items in our cart because of how we're feeling at the time. When we step away from that, we come back to it. It actually gives us time to say, oh, I really don't think I need that item. It's a great way to pare down what's in your cart so that you're not even making the unnecessary purchases or you're just making a few.
And Ashley, if people have spent a little bit more than they probably should have and they find themselves with more debt than they probably planned for, what is your advice for what they should do now moving forward?
Well, and that is very easy to happen. I think that we can all say that we have been there. The very first thing that we would suggest for you to do is to stop using your credit card. What we want you to do is to rely on the money that you have available in your budget. Try replacing your credit card with maybe your bank card and only using that. The other thing is to set up automatic payments on your credit card. So now that you're not using your credit card, now you're going to set up automatic payments. So you make sure that you obviously hit the deadline, the minimum payment, but maybe adding a little bit more so that now you're chipping away at that debt. That's one of the best ways that you can tackle that debt quickly.
All right, Ashley Avery, thank you so much for joining us this morning. All very helpful information.
Thank you for having me.